Alrighty, welcome to the Liberty Jersey Boys Show. We have a special edition today as we are here with Coach Ritchie McKay of the Liberty Flames basketball team. We're really excited to be here. I'm Joey, this is Mike, this is Brandon, and we're just kind of going to talk with him, get to know the team on more of a behind-the-scenes type look. We know what they've done on the court last year in March Madness, pulling off the upset, almost making it to the Sweet 16. This year, ASUN preseason favorites, currently tied for first, but we want to get to know the man behind the madness, Coach Ritchie McKay.
Joey, that's a great introduction. How much do I owe you?
So
$250.
So I think first question, were you very good at basketball yourself?
I was a legend in my own mind.
Okay.
No, you know what?
Respect.
My older brother loved the game, and we had a dad that was really passionate about basketball. And we grew up in Indianapolis, Indiana. And if you know anything about Hoosier hysteria, you gotta play if you're a youngster. We grew up loving the game, shoveled courts in order to play hoop. And when we moved out west, we moved to Arizona because my brother had a respiratory problem. I wasn't very good in Indianapolis, but not as many people played in Arizona, so I got a little better. And, but it became a passion of mine, mostly because it was my father's passion, and I wanted to be just like him. So I think it's not only a game that I love, but it's a hobby. Like I watch it 24/7. But when you ask if I was any good, you probably hear more no's than yes.
Okay.
Yes, unfortunately.
So you're a Midwestern guy. I'm from Ohio. So everyone knows about John Wooden, Coach K, some of those legendary iconic coaches. But for us Midwestern guys, Bobby Knight is like the man from the Midwest. Did you grow up a Hoosier fan? Or while you were from Indiana, what are your thoughts on Bobby Knight? Obviously, he just had that really big return to Indiana. And if not Bobby Knight, like as you were a kid, a teenager, young adult, who was kind of the coach that you were like, if I can't be a player, I want to be like that coach one day?
Good question, Joey. I didn't grow up an Indiana fan because I think we were more underdogs in our perspective of where we were as a family. So I kind of rooted for Purdue, but when I got into coaching, there was a gentleman by the name of Dick Bennett, who is another Midwesterner, and Dick Bennett is, in my opinion, one of the greatest coaches of all time. And the funny story here, I was working for Jim Molinari at Bradley University, who competed against Coach Bennett before taking the Bradley job. And I watched some tapes of Northern Illinois where Coach Molinari was, and saw them play this team, UWGB, Wisconsin Green Bay. And I marveled at how good Green Bay was. My younger brother gets drafted by the Green Bay Packers, and I randomly called Coach Bennett up and said, "Hey, Coach, I'm going to see my brother in fall camp, and I'd like to come spend 15 minutes with you." That 15 minutes turned into about 2 hours, and from there on out, he became a mentor of mine, not just coaching, but in life. He had a strong commitment to his faith, and that led to a relationship with one of his kids, Tony, who we became really good friends, and I ended up working with at Virginia. So I'd say he had the most influence on my coaching acumen, but I really feel privileged that I got a chance to do life with the Bennett family. By the way, another side note on that, my younger brother was drafted by the Packers from the University of Washington, and I asked him, "Man, how's it going?" He said, "It's going all right. We got this one quarterback, man, who just all he does is fire the ball 100 miles an hour. Like, he'll never make it." What's his name? I don't know. From Southern Miss, Brett Favre.
Well, obviously, Liberty people know him a little bit. He came and spoke here, and President Falwell's been a big fan of his.
Yeah.
Now, you said that you're a Purdue fan for basketball. Now, for football, did you ever have any connections with Notre Dame? Because I'm a big Notre Dame guy.
Yeah, if you grew up in Indiana, you were a Notre Dame football fan more than likely because of all the success. I didn't get as much into college football until a little bit later in my teen years, and my younger brother played at the University of Washington, so I became a big Husky fan.
Are you still a Husky fan?
Well, I mean, not if Joey's going to cut me off the podcast.
No, Yeah, it's all
Nah,
respect. It's all respect. I got nothing against Washington. You know, that's way out there.
Yeah, I'm a Liberty fan now.
Oh, there you
Absolutely.
go. Yeah,
We're all Liberty fans. It's Liberty.
well.
It's Liberty before everything.
That's
Yeah. Yeah, so I was thinking more of the basketball aspect, like the team itself. So I was just thinking, what's like the chemistry going on with the guys? Like, yeah, we see them playing on the field, on the court.
Yeah.
But like, what is it behind the scenes? Like, are they getting together? Are they like, how is that going?
Yeah, I think what you guys are doing with the inside look, with me, I think if you kind of peek behind the curtain, you'd see a family. Like, there's no perfect families. We've got our own issues, et cetera, et cetera. But I will say this, just like you guys are wearing Liberty jerseys and you represent us well, especially when you come to our games, man, the guys that are down there on that court, they really believe in Liberty and its mission. And it's a privilege of ours as coaches to get to do life with these guys daily, simply because they have a deep sense of gratitude, a spirit of humility, and they work and they don't think of themselves more highly than they are. We feel like we're just a small part of this Liberty body, and we want to honor the privilege that we get to play basketball, coach basketball, and hopefully bring a little bit more attention to our university, because I think when people then get a chance to get a glimpse of the kind of character that those young men possess, they get an impression of Liberty that would hopefully glorify God and make them want to be a part of our family as well.
Yeah, and that's great too. Because like aside from skills, like thinking about the family aspect of it, it pushes you even further than you can really go.
Yeah, no doubt. And don't get me wrong, they're talented too.
Yeah.
We get the benefit from that, but
Yeah.
I just think their pursuit is for more than just being good basketball players or being a winning team. We want to be a part of something that's bigger than ourselves.
And with that scene, like the family aspect, I know like I've always been told that like the senior leadership, and you got 4 seniors that are like big time in the program. I was curious if you could speak on a little bit of like the senior leadership and that playing into family.
Yeah, 3 of those guys are 5th-year seniors. Caleb Holmesley had an injury, so he had to redshirt. Scotty James transferred from another university and had the mandatory sit-out year. And Mile Baxter-Bell redshirted his first year. So between those 3, we have older guys. And there's a saying in basketball, you want to get old and stay old. Well, that's only if those old guys are selfless in nature. And I think one of the things that if you took a picture and you saw the definition of sacrificial, look at what Mayo and Scotty have done. They really split their minutes. Maybe Scotty gets a few more than Mayo, but they rarely stay on the floor together, yet they offer to us such a unique versatility in the way we play, and they never complain about their minutes or their role. Like that, I think that sacrifice is really good for our young guys who have to quote unquote wait their turn.
Yeah.
And I think it's leading by example that way. Caleb, he's special. He's an unbelievably talented player. He's got next level ability, and I think he would be more interested in winning the game than just scoring 30 points. And then lastly, the guy that probably is the most understated, Georgie Pacheco-Ortiz, really did an unbelievable job of driving our bus in from maybe relative obscurity to being a program that people had to take a little notice of. And there's a reason he's the all-time winningest player in our school's basketball history. And although senior night is going to be really depressing for me, because I won't get to be around those guys on a daily basis after the season concludes. But what will be incredibly memorable is the fact that we got a chance to together do something that you don't get a chance to do very often, and that's change the trajectory of a program, not just from the outside, but inside out.
Absolutely. I mean, this senior class has done a lot, going from under 500 to winning the first tournament game in school history. And it seems like you spoke all year in your press conferences and different things about the leadership. It seems like it's really steered the course for this season. There's been some adversity. Caleb was hurt for a stretch back last semester, and down in the Bahamas. During that tournament, the team really came together. Some of the young guys like Kyle Rode and Shiloh stepping up in place of him. The adversity, losing back-to-back games down in Florida. Obviously, 2 games in hindsight you'd like to have back, but you look at that, and sometimes losing is not the worst thing because you learn about your team, you learn how to deal with it, and with adversity. So my next question for you is, last year when the team was in the tournament, and they really started to get a bigger spotlight, because before in the tournament, I believe we were like 16 seeds, so when you're a 16 seed, really nobody looks at you at all, unless you're UMBC for doing the impossible. But it seems like there was a lot of adversity thrown at Liberty by the media last year in the tournament, just because overall being a widely vocal Christian school in today's culture can be difficult, because the culture just doesn't favor that. How would you say that you guys were able to block out the noise and the older guys kind of stepping up to say they don't want us to move on, they don't want us to get the spotlight? How did you guys kind of rally behind that last year and continuing into this year?
Yeah, Joey, you study this hard. You really got to think about a career in this, in sports broadcasting. Are you?
Thank you. Yeah, I am.
Yeah, I think you'd be good at it.
Thank you.
Especially if you're watching press conferences of me, then you really. Tony Bennett said something after they lost to UMBC, and I can't remember. Maybe you heard it at TED Talk. I won't remember it word for word, but he said, "Adversity, if you handle it right, it'll take you to a place that you could have never gotten there without it." And I think that's true in all of our lives, not just in our vocations or in our relationships, but in our pursuit of our faith. I think there's going to be bumps in the road, and how
absolutely.
we're able to keep our hands on the wheel and stay in our lane, I think is really important. So obviously, we really focus on what we can control and what other people say about us, whether it's really, really good or not so much. I think for us, the best thing we could do is have a life behind our message. That if we truly want to do something grand, that takes an ability or a big dose of selflessness and a great commitment to being a team or a family. So I think that's probably the way we stayed in our lane. We worried about what we could focus on, and that was really the next game and playing for one another. And I do think it was good for our university as well, because I think there was a lot of positive that came from it, and it was an experience that we shared as a group and as Flames Nation that I think it'll have a long shelf life.
Yeah, I think that the upset that you guys pulled off was such a huge step because of something that you just hadn't done before. If I'm being honest with you, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that. I visited Liberty over March Madness weekend. I got here Sunday afternoon, and I watched you guys take on Virginia Tech over at the Vines. There's a great atmosphere, great watch party. I watched the whole Mississippi State game. Ironically, that was the day I got accepted into Liberty, so I was rocking my new Liberty shirt they sent me in the mail. I was like, all right, let's do this. I'm watching it. You see they got the Jokers there, and everyone's going nuts when Mayo comes in, because who doesn't love a football-sized basketball player? I mean, come on. And for a big man, the guy's got handles. He's almost like a point guard with the body of a linebacker, and you gotta respect that.
It's point guard mile.
It's point guard mile.
Point guard mile.
So, and the thing about it is, like, they're exceptional players, but they're even better men. I just look at it, and after every game, almost the whole team comes back out onto the court. They interact with the fans, with the kids, the media. I don't think I've ever seen someone call out to try to talk to them after the game and they ignored them. And that's the beauty of a mid-major school, because a lot of these power schools, you probably wouldn't see that at a Duke or at a Michigan State. But with the mid-major, it really just helps you interact with the team as fans. And I have great respect for that, because I'm sure that that's something that you preach to them that, and you've said after a couple of close home wins that the fans can swing a 5 or 6 point swing, and we've had games that we won by 6, 7, or 8 points. But how excited are you for the new arena that's going to be kind of condensed so the fans will be packed together more, it'll be louder? How do you think that that's going to have an influence on your team?
Yeah, Joey, honestly, I think those venues that kind of promote a little bit more intimate setting, I think they're harder to win in for the opponent. So I think, again, our program's going in the right direction. We've got a trajectory that we want to keep building on. And to do that, we have to keep developing the really good players we have and keep recruiting some more. I know our guys can't wait to be in the new Liberty Arena. And obviously, I think when you reduce the size of the venue by more than half, there might be a greater demand for tickets. So I'm glad you guys jumped on board early.
Yeah, it's only
You look at Duke. They could fill probably a 30,000 seat arena night in and night out,
Yeah.
but they bump it down to 9,000 because they know that the demand is through the roof.
Those tickets are incredible.
They're only going back 14 rows, so like it's gonna be quite an experience.
Yeah, no, I think it'll be fun, a fun atmosphere, not just for the players or the coaches, but for the fans. And again, that's something that we hope to continue to promote and create, or create and promote. I also believe, fellas, that the student body here is way different than most around the country. And
Absolutely.
I think our oneness as a university, I think it'll be even enhanced in a venue like that.
So our football team just moved up to the FBS. They're currently an independent. From what I've heard, we're trying to find a conference to join, kind of in a stalemate right now. And it seems like we're kind of the cream of the crop in the ASUN, us in North Florida, but it seems the last few years it's kind of been steady. Would you like to see the program try to move up to a higher conference like the American or possibly the Sun Belt? Would you be considering that, or do you want to stay in the ASUN for the future?
Yeah, I think football in this day and age, it drives what your athletic program or programs, it drives the bus, if you will. So being an independent has been really good for us. Again, there's Notre Dame, there's BYU. Those are universities and departments that have thrived because of their football success. So I trust Ian McCall. I think he's a phenomenal leader. Obviously,
Absolutely.
Jerry Jr. is incredibly supportive of athletics. And so I really, back to controlling the controllables, I really don't worry much about it. I'm privileged to be in the ASUN. I think it's a really good conference. FGCU, before we arrived, really had a stranglehold on it, and then Lipscomb was the repeat champ from the year prior, or the year we joined. So I think we kind of put ourselves in a position to be competitive, but we were going to be competitive in any league because of the young guys that we had and the minutes that they had, a crew that we had an older team coming back. So I like where we are. Again, if we move up, great. But I don't think the ASUN is one of those poor leagues. I think it's got really competitive basketball. Like Lipscomb last year,
Good team.
if the Lipscomb games, if we don't play Lipscomb, and this year it's North Florida, if you don't have games like that, you don't win in the NCAA tournament. You have to have games in which you're really challenged and really tested. And I think there's some really good coaches in this league. Like Donnie Jones at Stetson's done a fabulous job. And there's guys that don't have a great record yet, but make no mistake about it, this league it's hard to win. So we've got our work cut out for us, but man, if you guys keep showing up, we got a better chance.
Working on it.
Well, let's really kind of hoping that the conference tournament ends up here because we'll get every game.
You and I both are hoping that it's here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's all of us, because I don't know if we can get a fan bus down to Florida,
Yeah.
but we'll have to see. I also made a deal with the athletic government that if we win the conference tournament, I'll bleach my hair like Cuffy for the NCAA tournament. So, as of now, there's a lot of hair to bleach, and I don't know how my family would feel about it, but
Yeah.
a deal's a deal, whatever it takes to win.
Wow.
But anything else from you guys, or?
I think we
don't
sort
think
of.
so.
I got one last.
You got one more?
I got
You
one
said-
last question.
You said your last legitimate question, so will this one be an illegitimate one?
Pretty much.
Okay.
My last question: where do you get those glasses? Those are great. I love them.
I'm trying to get a pair of those.
Yeah, I don't even know where I got them.
Really?
You were rocking me for a while.
We were in California and
Those are like designer, man. It was like the
There's-
Gucci glasses.
and my wife liked them, so usually if she likes it, I gotta wear it.
Alright.
Hey,
You're rocking
the fans like it too. Yeah, I think they're pretty good.
Thanks,
Ritchie
guys.
glasses.
Yeah.
But any last comments from you, Coach, or you two?
No, just thanks for doing this. Again, I think
Absolutely.
whoever listens to it or whoever follows you, I think they're fortunate because you guys are obviously passionate about what you do, and anytime you combine someone that's skilled and has a passion for something, usually you're going to find success there. So keep doing what you're doing, guys.
Thank
Absolutely.
you, Coach.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right, thanks everyone for tuning in. This is the Jersey Boys Show with Coach Ritchie McKay. Big stretch coming up to finish the season. 5 total games left, I believe, in the conference. 3 straight at home. Thursday the 20th, North Florida, at home in the Vines.
Be there.
Anyone listening, if you're in the state of Virginia or the Commonwealth of Virginia, make sure you're there. It's a big game. Thanks for tuning in. For Brandon, Mike, and Coach McKay, I'm Joey signing off, and go Flames.